My wife and I have been investing in real estate for the past 13 years. We've seen our fair share of ups and downs, but this is a very weird and unique market condition. Canada has positioned itself in a pretty terrible place. Now, whether you blame the Liberals or not, the fundamentals are breaking. I'll explain more in great detail in this video, but essentially, sellers aren't selling right now, builders aren't building, and millennial buyers need to buy, but it's getting almost impossible for them to buy. All the while, inflation keeps happening. Now, to make things more fair and easily accessible for more people to buy, the real estate market really needs another and a greater real estate correction, but are we gonna get one? Let's dig into some ideas and break this down. So to get at the truth of what's happening right now, let's talk about what's currently happening actually in the real estate market. Number one, sellers aren't selling. Part of that reason is the interest rates are way too high, which we'll talk about in this video, but also their valuation has dropped so fast. So like literally 6 months ago and 12 months ago, these sellers could have gone easily $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 more on the price of their home. So when sellers normally sell, which is about every 5 years, they're kind of thinking to themselves, well, if I sell now, you know, I could have got like 200 grand more just 8 months ago. Why would I sell right now? Why don't I just wait to see what happens for another year? I hear about this inflation thing, which is going down every single month. I hear the Bank of Canada on the news saying, you know, eventually we are going to lower rates. My realtor's telling me when rates start to come down, that's when buyers will come out of the woodwork and start bidding up prices again. So I think I'm going to sell a year or two from now, recoup that sweet 200 grand that I lost for now, and I'm gonna sell then. So we have a giant amount of sellers right now, all thinking the exact same thing, watching the same news programs, hearing all the same things in the media, and most people have a brain in their head, even though the Bank of Canada and the government thinks everybody's stupid, which they kind of are, but at least they know basic economics and basic reading and just watching the TV, hearing that interest rates will come down and that will bolster up the real estate market again. So we have a giant amount, like I said, of people holding off, not selling, which is lowering the inventory. Right now, we have the lowest inventory for sale that we've ever had in like decades, like since the 80s, 70s, possibly even the 60s in some areas. Like we've never seen this low amount of listings for sale. All the while, builders, which is a big part of the market to bring new listings online, builders right now are saying, I don't think so. We're not building nothing right now. Interest rates are way too high. The financing costs on my projects is just way too costly. I'm either not gonna buy land, or if I do have land ready to develop, I'm not going to develop it anyway for another year or two when I know, because I'm a savvy builder and an investor, I know rates will come down and I'm going to finance these projects then. So all these listings and new builds that we need to come online, they're not coming online because builders are saying, I don't think so. And one thing I forgot to mention as well about the sellers sitting on the sidelines and not wanting to sell, they're also thinking, even if I do sell, even if I'm pressured to sell, where am I going to go, dude? Like I have this rate locked in at 3%. I bought this house back in 2017. Even if I do sell this house and I will make way more money because I bought it so long ago, where am I gonna go? Like I'll barely be able to upgrade. House prices have risen so much that it'll be like a lateral move, like moving from this house to another house. It'll be the same thing. There's no keep up with the Joneses. There's no next level big house I can get. And even if I can get a sweet bigger house and get that McMansion after this house, the interest payment is so high. Like there's no way I'll be able to afford it on my basic Canadian level salary. Now, I know what you're thinking if you're a bear watching this video, thinking, well, eventually, you know, that 5-year mortgage is going to come around.
And then that's really, Matt, when we're going to see everybody panic sell, take huge losses. We're going to get sweet deals. There'll be so many more listings on the market. That's when we're going to get these sweet deals, Matt. And
one thing that we're not realizing, and it's not really being talked about too much in the media, is all the big banks are coming in to help these people who are currently having their renewals like happening right now, but the majority of renewals are going to happen in like 25, 26, right? But people are saying like, dude, I can't afford this refinance. I can't afford this new high rate. What can you do for me, TD, Scotiabank, RBC? Because like, I don't want to go bankrupt. I don't want to foreclose this house. I don't want to lose all that equity. Like, you got to help me out here, bank. And the banks are saying, no problem. We're here to the rescue. What we're going to do for you, Mr. Seller, is we have to renew your mortgage. That's just how the business works every 5 years. However, we're going to push the amortization a very long time away. So you have 15 years left on your mortgage. It's being calculated at a 25-year amortization. So yeah, I get it. Renewing at a mortgage of 7% when you're used to 3%, I know you can't afford that. So here's what we're gonna do for you. We're gonna make the amortization 40 years, 50 years, 60 years. I've seen some as high as 80-year amortization, reducing your payment to like a dirty low payment. You'll be paying the exact same payment you're paying right now or even less with these long amortizations. And when the market does come down and rates do come down, come back to the office here and we'll lock you in with another new mortgage, pay you some more fees for us. We'll lock you into a 25-year am the way you were supposed to be at, hopefully, you know, a 5%, a 4.5%, a 4% rate. Come back to us then. So essentially you have the big banks bailing everybody out. So this idea that like everybody, when their mortgage comes due at any moment, we're gonna have this floodgate of all these sellers panic selling. We're gonna come in there as savvy buyers.
I watch HDTV, I watch the news, whatever.
I'm gonna come in like a savage and buy all these houses at low prices. No. The majority of sellers who would be in financial despair if this wasn't coming in to bail them out, they're just gonna lock in and push that amortization. They're gonna stay, they're not gonna sell. Again, less listings on the market, and they're gonna push out the amortization. They're gonna ride out this wave, and then they might sell their home in 2025, 2026, 2027, when the market is back to a cool, neutral position. So that's the reality of what's happening behind the scenes that nobody knows about, especially the average Joes in my comments or the fucking Reddit forums being like, the market's gonna crash, Matt Pichet's an idiot. They don't know about all this stuff in the background with the banks essentially bailing everybody out. So the next thing would be interest rates. And the only way the housing market is gonna correct and come way down is if interest rates truly stay higher for longer, which has been the whole narrative from the feds in the US and the Bank of Canada is like, we're going to hold rates longer. We're going to keep raising them. They raised last month 0.25%, which honestly did absolutely nothing to the real estate market, but the newspapers had a heyday. Oh, this is it, 2008. But like everybody in the actual business knows, this ain't doing nothing. Still multiple offers everywhere on our flips. We're seeing it with the live data on the real estate market. That did absolutely nothing. And then they're hinting that they're gonna raise in July. It will really do nothing. And then at that point, we truly know the bank has run out the very last likely raise that they can do because inflation is dropping like a rock. Now, the day of me filming this video is the release day of the CPI in Canada, and inflation is 3.4%, dropped an entire percent from just last month at 4.4%. So we know where inflation is going. Like by next month, by July, we could very well have inflation in the two handles. So be somewhere in 2%, August, then September. Like we could be well into 2% by September. Inflation could be 2.5, 2.4, 2.3%, almost at the Fed target of 2%. So this narrative of like
Interest rates higher for longer, we gotta keep raising.
you're running out of steam, dude. We're comparing, especially going into July, August, September. That was peak inflation of last year. So we'll be comparing these next months from today's numbers to last year, which was the peak. So we know that inflation in July, August, September is probably going to be a nice juicy CPI rating for the bulls. Inflation is dropping. We're almost at an acceptable level. We're almost at 2%. So the idea that real estate would, by the way, for sure start dropping like a rock if interest rates were at 7% like they are right now, filming this video, for like another year, another 2 years. You would start seeing prices come down for sure. The whole hysteria and the hype would start to go down because like who wants to own a $1 million house in Kitchener-Waterloo for $1 million at 7% interest rate? That's crazy. Nobody can afford that. These high payments are probably only going to be another 6, 7, 8 months, and then rates will start coming down. So people are just kind of like saving up their savings, bleeding through their savings. So to me, in my mind, being a professional real estate investor, someone who follows the stock market, I follow the bond yields, I follow commodities and live data, I follow everything in live data. From everything I'm seeing, inflation is going to continue dropping like a rock, and in my mind, the feds are going to be forced to pause at the very least, or eventually in the early year, you know, January, February, March, which is only like 6, 7 months away from now, start cutting rates. And what do you think is going to happen to the housing market once the Fed finally starts cutting rates. Oh my God, it's already a gong show now. Multiple offers everywhere right now for nicely renovated homes at peak interest rates. Now you're probably thinking, well, Matt, how is everybody gonna be able to afford these mortgages? Like you said, people are bleeding through their savings, trying to call the Fed's bluff to pay these higher interest rates, thinking that rates will come down. Dude, if you look at the data, a lot of people have a lot of money still from the COVID spending era where we all got free money for doing nothing. People accumulated a lot of money in Canada specifically, not like the US, but in Canada, we were very responsible with that money, so the data shows, and we weren't really spending it like idiots. So a lot of people have a lot of money, they have good jobs, still holding on to all these great jobs, which by the way, job market is tight as hell. That's another thing that really needs to crash. And we have to see unemployment like literally at 8, 9, 10%. Then you start seeing the housing market come down. That's just not gonna happen. There's so many industries on fire. The job market is still so tight. So with all this fear stuff being said, all the news, all the stuff, what do we do, Matt? What do we do? Because on this channel, I like to tell you, the fears and what to look out for. But unlike the other financial YouTubers, I want to leave you something with, what do we do? Instead of just crying like a baby over the news and sitting in our basement, hurled up, not doing anything, losing money. That's not what I want you to do. There's always a play. There's always a way to make money. So what do we do when it comes to real estate? Don't stop investing in real estate. That's the last thing you should do. And even myself, I kicked myself for last year putting a stop on the flipping business from April 2022 all the way to New Year's of 2023. We stopped marketing. I stopped looking for deals. I want to see what the market was doing. Now for me, I like boring. I like to be safe. I like to be careful. So, in hindsight, it's always 2020. At the time, I feel I did the right thing. But, knowing what I know now, dude, market's on fire. Nobody fucking cares. Everybody needs a house to live in. Millennials are buying houses like crazy at rapid rates we've never seen before. Sellers aren't selling. Builders aren't building. We got all these fundamentals pointing to a perfect storm. Essentially, just don't stop buying real estate, especially if you're doing the long-term strategy, which is always the best strategy I recommend for everybody, is the buy and hold. Buy a good property in a good area that has good job growth, GDP growth, population growth, rental demand, all the fundamentals we always talk about on this channel. Focus on those and keep buying real estate. Now I know you're probably gonna say, Matt, easier said than done. All that theory sounds good, but dude, properties in Mississauga, properties in GTA, Kitchener-Waterloo, GTA area, they're too expensive. I want to invest in real estate, but I can't. So here's the thing, and here's what I see a lot of investors doing in the GTA investing groups is real estate is too expensive here. I get that. So what they're doing is they're going up to Sudbury. They're going up to Sault Ste. Marie. They're going down to Windsor. They're going to Alberta. They're going to St. John's, and they're buying real estate there. Why? It's cheaper. I get it. It makes
basic logical sense of like, well, real estate is too expensive here. I can't buy anything. If I go to Alberta, I can buy a house for 200 grand.
It makes sense. However, you're breaking the rules, the fundamentals. Are there jobs exploding in Sudbury? In Alberta, are there job growth? And I always rag on Alberta on this channel, kind of as a joke, but also for real. Alberta is a one-hit pony. Out east is a one-hit pony, okay? It's oil. Why are you investing in that area right now? Where people are just following price. And I get it. You're desperate to invest in real estate. You missed the boat maybe in this GTA area. There's no way for you to get back on the boat. I get it. And like you just want to rush in to get some real estate. Better than nothing, I guess. But hear me out. If you're going to jump to a new area, form a new team, get a new realtor, property manager, handyman, like build this whole team out again, to me, just get out of Canada. If you're going to go through the trouble of doing all of that, that's the way I'm thinking about this. And in those areas, like for me personally, we're investing in Texas and Florida full on. No more Canada. We're done with Canada. I'm flipping in Canada because what a great market to flip in with all these fucking idiots everywhere. Fantastic. But for buy and hold real estate, I ain't touching nothing in Canada. Absolutely nothing. Taxes are too high. Landlord tenant boards are way too pro-tenant. The fundamentals in real estate are just all wrong. In Texas, landlord tenant board rules are amazing. Taxes are amazing. Population growth, economic growth, real GDP growth, real world-class cities. Houston, Texas, got amazing stuff going on. Population of 8 million. It's bigger than Toronto, right? Like, I don't know about you. I'd rather, if I'm gonna pick up and move and build a new team, I might as well just do that somewhere in the US with bigger cities, way more deal. I can tell you that for a fact. The amount of deals on the market in America is like night and day. It's shooting fish in a barrel. Why? Just a bigger population. Cities are gigantic. There's more shit going on. And America's just more of a capitalistic society in the sense that it's sink or swim. If you can't swim, bye-bye. You're gonna die, literally. Nobody really goes bankrupt and broke in Canada, right? There's always a safety net to catch people, and that's great. America doesn't have that, dude. So there's houses that are falling over. People can't afford to like heat their home. That shit's going on in America. It's crazy. So if you want to get deals, like that's the place to do it. So anyway, what I'm saying is at least you can get my angle and see what I'm doing. Anyway, guys, that's the video. Is the bubble gonna burst in Canada? I don't know. Comment below. Let me know your thoughts. But to me, being a professional real estate investor, I just don't see how it's possible. I'll see you in the next video.